This conference will now be recorded.
Hello and welcome to our income tax for the semesters of 2019 and 2020, perhaps even into 2021. These videos are recorded on a every other year basis. However, my lecture notes are updated every semester. Thus, if there's a difference, always refer to my lecture notes, as those will have the most up-to-date. However, these videos will cover topics that in general will not change much. However, the numbers may fluctuate due to inflation reasons. The first thing that I wanted to start with this opening general video is our welcome document. And I think the welcome document is so important that I've actually even made it an assignment. It's down here just in the module 1. This is the first thing I want us to talk through. So I'm going to open that up. And if you want to go ahead and pause and open it up as well. So here is my Word document that I think will give you and help ease any anxiety with this class being online. You don't get a chance to necessarily ask questions and get immediate feedback. This is one way that I hope you can get some feedback on the most pressing issues for this class. And to make it so it's a must read, I've made it in just to an easy, very simple assignment, only 10 points, 5 answers. You're just going to simply highlight or copy and paste, I should say if this was the first answer, you would copy and paste this into either a Word document or simply copy and paste into the actual assignment within IVY Learn, and we'll look at that once I get done with this these points. All of the assignments that you have will always be submitted here in IVY Learn, and everything will have a link to where you would submit. Some of the items are in a quiz type format. However, they are not quizzes. They are simply regular assignments. You can access them at as many times as you need. Note here my due dates. I have them different than most of your other classes. Most people find this welcoming. So my assignments aren't due until Tuesday evening of each week. So after that entire week, usually most assignments are due by Sunday. I give you 2 extra days. The only time that Sunday is going to come into play is if you wish to have your assignment reviewed. They do need to be submitted to me via email by Sunday evening, and you'll see that here in just a few more points when I talk about getting to up your grade, ways to do that. And one of them is to submit your assignments ahead of time, and I will mark any ones that are wrong so you can correct for your actual submission. Okay, so what I had said, the multiple choice from the back of the book and some of the problems that I've come up with, these are technically in the quiz section of the IVY Learn. However, they are typical assignments. And anytime we have a tax return that you need to submit and you actually submit your actual return, do submit your actual file, not the PDF copy of the file. I cannot delve into that to see if there was a mistake where it was. That's why I require you to submit the actual file when submitting any tax returns. And we'll talk more about that in week 3 when we discuss actually starting doing returns. So the weekly class assignments, we will always have each week a multiple choice, which includes some fill in the blanks from the end of the chapter, and then a few problems that I've developed that are closely related to how the midterm or the final exam will look. Since I've written those 2 tests, I thought you would like to have some questions of mine ahead of time to see how I write questions. The second part of each week will either have a discussion board and or a tax return from the book. I typically don't have both. There may be 1 or 2 instances where that comes into play, but most of the time not. We have very few discussion boards. I think there's only 5 at the most. Most of the time, some people like the discussion boards, but that's usually their least favorite of any class. However, it is a way to get some extra credit. If you begin to have a correspondence with another student or multiple students, the more times you have quality feedback, you get extra credit points during the discussion boards. So each week's assignment always due by Tuesday. The only two exceptions are this assignment, this welcome document, and the discussion board. These items, discussion boards and this welcome document, are always due by Saturdays. And that's mainly for the discussion board purposes. The discussion boards are due by Saturday to give students then and yourself time to make replies. And the replies are due by Tuesday, the normal homework date. Thus, if the originals and the replies were due on Tuesday, if everybody submitted Tuesday evening, then nobody would have time to do the necessary replies. That's why I make the original posts due a few days ahead of time. Okay, the first major thing here, don't even ask about late work. If I haven't been contacted by the Saturday for that week's assignment, typically you won't get credit for that week's assignment if you didn't turn it in by that Tuesday, Saturday or Sunday. If you don't let me know within 2 days ahead of time, so that would actually be Sunday, the chances of you getting an extension are slim to none, except if a last minute emergency did come up, and it would have to be a fairly extreme. If you are going to be on vacation, you know you're going to be gone, then you simply just need to work ahead of time. So there's very few times when extensions are given. Okay, discussion boards. The original post, as I said, by Saturday night. Your feedback replies by the normal homework deadline each week on Tuesday. I go through them for sure, hopefully by the next couple of days, and I enter in the grades and any feedback. I try to do feedback as well before the actual due date, especially if you had a question or a particularly interesting post. So note that this first week's discussion board is due by the 19th, that's Saturday. So in just a few days, and then your replies by Tuesday. So if you don't have the book, this is one of the reasons why I have these items due ahead of time as well, especially this welcome document. You don't need the book to answer these welcome document questions, nor complete the first discussion board. Thus, Saturday will allow me to know if you're truly in the class or not, or if you need to be dropped. Okay, let's scroll down here to number 6. Notice here, to encourage everybody to always work ahead of time. So just because my assignments aren't due until Tuesday of that following week, you really should get in the habit of working ahead of time. And to help encourage that, and also to help your grade, I allow you to submit me your assignments early. Notice that's via email. Do not submit it in IVY Learn. Once you submit in IVY Learn, that is your final submission. Once you submit it to me, I will get it back to you and mark anything that is incorrect. Notice here how I would have you submit your work. So if the multiple choice starts on number 18, you will start your answer sheet in a Word document or an Excel, or simply just in the text of your email and put 18 as A. And then if A was 2000 and you show me your work was how you got to 2000, and if one of the numbers was incorrect, I would highlight A to show that it was incorrect, and I would highlight the 4500 if that was the incorrect number that you used. So the more information you give me in your work, the more I can give back to you to make sure you've done everything correctly. So this would be number 18 if this was our first multiple choice. So I'll put that out here. First multiple choice. Don't put number 1, but actually put what number it is in the book. That will really help avoid any confusions. No, and I'll show you this here once we get through this document as well. You can access the homework site as many times as you need to before submission. Thus, you should always do that. I think it'd probably be good to go ahead and do that now. So this is our very first chapter 1 homework. So before you even start doing the homework, you should always go in to the chapter 1. And yours will most likely come up. I'm from the instructor view, so mine's just a little bit different, but I'm going to go in here to preview. And you'll notice that question 1 is actually number 18. So when if you do submit your work for review, put number 18. That would be extremely helpful. And then number 19, you would put 19 and then whatever the answer is. As we come on down, you can see what some of the fill in the blank will look like. There's usually not very many of them. There's maybe 3 or 4 per chapter. And then down below will be the final pieces are my instructor questions. And then they're usually fill in the blank as well. Notice you never want to put in $signs. That sometimes the program will see that as being incorrect since it's not the exact amount. However, on some items you can use commas, but if I tell you not to, do not use commas because it will count it wrong. And the only, if you do happen to use a comma, just email me and I will go in and give you the credit as long as you had the right answer and you just forgot and put in a comma. This just helps to avoid that extra step. That's not right. There we go. When you submit me your email, always get in the habit of using your actual email. Don't use the notification messages in IVY Learn. When you submit it to me, I've become aware and know how to find your attachments. However, when I reply, it'll go back into that same format. And I would say at least 75% of students do not know how to locate my attached file when I submit it back to you. It's not the easiest thing to find. Like it pops up much easier if you simply use your email. Here's my little disclaimer about having issues that you foresee coming ahead of time. If you've let me know ahead of time, I may be able to work with you. It all depends on exactly what's going on. But basically, if you let me know Monday or Tuesday that you can't get off work or whatever, and you need an extension, that's not gonna happen. You need to continually make your due dates way ahead of time. Okay, these recorded lectures, including this one, I will update these on basically a biannual basis. So every other year, they do take a long time and a lot of work to update. Therefore, I do not get those updated every year. These lectures will be good for the semesters of 2019 and 2020, perhaps into the first part of 2021. Therefore, always look to my notes if there's ever a discrepancy. My notes are updated on a yearly basis. The videos are not. I will always have this disclaimer, or at least on the first few videos, I will post this type of a disclaimer saying that these were produced during the spring of 2019 semester, and they are good up through at least year 2021. Most of the rules will be the same for these 2 years. However, some numbers could differentiate slightly due to inflation reasons. Therefore, my notes are always updated. Okay, the only lecture I require, if you do not find these videos helpful, most students do, but if you don't, the only lecture that you are required is week 2. Week 2, there will be 5 questions that will verify your attendance. The last couple items here, tax returns. We'll do 2 types of tax returns once we start them in week 3. The first type will be called shoebox returns. These are tax returns within the chapter. They give you all the items you need, plus they give you the answers to what you should have on the shoebox returns. Now, there are errors in these shoebox returns, and any time that there is, in each week's module, I will make that notation where there may have been an error in the textbook. And what I mean is, a lot of times these shoebox returns build on each other. Therefore, week 3 will also then be in week 4 and in week 5. Keep building on the new material. However, week 4 may give a certain amount, but that won't equal what it was in chapter 3. I will notate those and tell you what you should do. The end of chapter returns, you're going to have one of two types. They're actually either going to be at the end of the chapter, or they're going to be my own made tax returns. These type of tax returns, you will answer questions in an assignment type quiz like you do normal end of the chapter assignments. There'll be number 1, A, B, C, or D, what works best with your tax return, and then number 2 may be what is line 2 of the 1040 that you just completed, and what is line 7, what is line 10, and you'll look back to your tax return to answer those questions. You'll see that'll make a lot more sense once we get week 3 and beyond. The midterm and final, you will want at least several weeks before the class is completed. I will make reminders of this, but I would say by at least week 3 or 4, make your midterm appointment, and then maybe even at the same time, go ahead and make your finals appointment. There are 2 proctored exams in this class. Simply not having a space to take your exam because you waited too long to make an appointment is not an excuse for an extension. You will have to find some other way, or you will take a 0. The final piece of this class, the VITA exams, these are required tests that you have to take if you would ever participate in any of the VITA programs. We'll talk a lot more about this as we get much further into the class. But basically, what happens towards the end of January, different Ivy Tech campuses host or partner with another place that hosts a VITA site, and you get actual hands-on experience preparing real returns in a much reduced stress environment than you would at an entry-level CPA office, where it is very tense and stressful during the busy tax season. This site here you will also want to become aware of. I'm going to copy and paste it into my browser and go into it just briefly. I have this in a couple other pages as well. Obviously, this one isn't correct. I'm not sure why, but we'll check the syllabus and see what the other, maybe I just typed it in wrong. If so, I'll get that updated definitely. But basically what those VITA tests are, it assures the public that you do have a knowledge of taxes. And even though they are getting their taxes done for free by you for the low income and the elderly, that they can have the peace of mind that it's not somebody just off the street who doesn't have any experience at all. The VITA tests are difficult, but this class should prepare you for them. Okay, so that's the welcome document, kind of giving you a general feel for how the class will run. The second thing I wanted to do, and then the final thing will be going through the syllabus, but the second thing I wanted to do is in the modules, I wanted to give you, and I want you to take the time to read through this. This document here are students from prior semesters, and actually this one is only from our last semester's students, so it's very up to date, very relevant. Read through how these students have answered my end of the semester questions, and I think it'll give you a really good feel for what to expect in a type of class that you just don't have much expectations yet. So I always ask the students, how did this class compare to others? And you can, I would read through and get their responses. What about the VITA test? Did the class prepare you for that? What did the students like most or the least about the class? And what advice would you give to a new student like yourself starting this course? So you can read, and I have probably 5 or 6 students who have commented on these, and you will have the same chance to comment at the end of the semester. And then I draw kind of a little dividing line, and then we have our next student. Some of them have posted the question, the original question, some of them did not. So if you aren't sure what the question is, let's see, I think like this person didn't post the question, so just refer back to a previous, they're all the same. I think this is a very helpful way to get you to ease any apprehensions about the class and to not be behind and say, oh, I wish I would have started doing this in week 1 instead of week 5. Okay, the last piece, let's go into the syllabus. We've covered pretty much everything that you need to know, but it's good just to look through the syllabus anyway. Here are my instructor hours and the best way to get a hold of me. My phone number and my email are by far the best way. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. Again, I highly prefer you to use your actual email and not the notifications or communications or whatever they call it in IVY Learn. The email is the best option. And you can see the office hours, the normal time that I will be able to respond to you in the most quickly manner, or if you wanted to call me at the offices. Required text and materials. Here's that other place where the link to the VITA site is, and I'll try it again and we'll see if this one works. If it doesn't, then I will have to do a little research and figure out why. It may be because as of the time of this recording, the government is shut down. Therefore, the IRS is also shut down at this point. So they may have taken their site offline, and it does appear that, oh, nope. Well, this is, now this isn't the site that I was looking for. It is page not found again. Therefore, it looks like the IRS has taken their VITA site offline for the time being. I will wait till the government gets back up in session, and I may need to update our link to the VITA. Again, this is supplement until we get to the VITA exams, but this link gives you extra help and extra practice with answers to go along with it. They'll give you some examples and you give an answer, and then you'll be able to know how well you understand the material. I think it's a very good resource to use. Our site here for the class, if you wanted to go through Connect, you can. There's nothing really in Connect that you would need except maybe updates to the book. We don't use Connect. The only other thing you may want is if you actually to go in and get the 2008 Tax Act software. There are 2 options. One, you can go through the actual Connect website here and simply get the Tax Act software. The other way, which may be just even easier, is when you go to the home or the modules, the first module that comes up is the resources, and this Tax Act software link is updated for the 2018 software. If you click here and then follow just some of the I don't have every detailed instruction here. Some of them are self-explanatory. However, you should be able to get into the 2018 Tax Act software, but we will do that in more detail come week 3. Most of this is a boilerplate template. Here, this is some information for this class, last day to withdraw and still get a W. And then if for some reason the class isn't going to work out, and you know it's not going to work out, and you want it to be removed from your transcript and get your refund, that is due by the 26th of January. Of course, this will be different as the semesters move forward. Refer to your actual syllabus, and your dates will be slightly different, but they will be they will be close. The main thing on here is the assignment tax return discussion boards to go through. All assignments, as I said, are due Tuesday night, except for discussion boards and the welcome document. If you submit me your homework by Sunday night, basically, even up through, I give you all Sunday night, up through the first part of Monday morning, you can submit me your homework and I will review it and email it back to you. Always email me anything for review. We've talked about the discussion boards, but how they're graded. Your original post, your original thoughts, up to 14 points for a nice detailed original post that is free of spelling and grammar errors. I do take off for those. And then up to 6 points for any replies. They need to have 2 replies minimum. As you begin to put 4 more replies together, even back and forth between another student, those do count and you begin to earn extra credit. Exams, there are only 2. They are proctored. Therefore, you need to submit and get a reservation so you can take your exam when it's most convenient for you. Note the final is not cumulative. It only covers the second half of the semester. So hopefully that will ease your nerves just a bit. I do, as you will find, I do allow a page of notes. And that will be discussed more in depth as we get closer to the midterm and final. As the course developer, and as you can see through this video, each week I will have about a 1-hour lecture, give or take. Could be slightly less or slightly more depending on the detail of the material in that chapter. These are designed to give you that in-class feeling so you don't have to learn everything on your own. You have somebody there to help get you through some of maybe the tougher aspects of this tax class. Another update on these lectures are not recorded every semester, but my notes are updated. And then finally, a little bit extra about the VITA, what the program is, who benefits. It actually benefits you as the student and the clients who get the benefit of a free tax return for the low income. I usually cap it at about $45,000 total household income. And our main service is about 50% are elderly and about 30% are students and or staff. And then the other 20% are other citizens throughout the community who are in the lower income brackets. I believe that's about it for what I wanted to cover. Make sure you have notated the notifications. The notifications, you can get through that through up here in your account. If you want to be notified every time I make an announcement or every time that there is simply a graded assignment or that I have left a message in a graded assignment, you can be notified on all of those type of things or any one of them in particular. The last thing that I would note here is these help spiral pages. These are, I think you'll find, are going to be very beneficial. They will be updated here in the next few days. I will have them published. As you can see, they're not published as yet. I haven't gotten the 2018 updated. So therefore, it's not really worth it for me to go into these, but it'll be a PDF file. And it's basically 20 pages-ish of PDF sheets that I have scanned in that are the most common tax items that you're going to run into, like what is the standard deduction for this type of person? Who can be claimed as a dependent? Who can be claimed as a child dependent? All of those type of questions that come up that you want to have and maybe it's a weird situation. These kind of give you a real quick guidance on what the answer may be instead of having to research it through the internet or your tax book. I think you'll find these very helpful. So you may want to pull them and have them saved off for each week, for each chapter. With that, we will close this off. Make sure you now go into, when you're ready and you've kind of looked through chapter 1, the next video is ready for the chapter 1 material. It is right around an hour in length. However, it will probably take you closer to an hour and a half, thus or more, because I do ask you to pause the video as we work through some examples, and you will find this to be very beneficial if you do pause when I ask you to and actually work it out as we would in class. That's the only way you're going to really learn. With that, we will sign off, and I will see you again here in chapter 1 and then on into chapter 2.